Time is the fairest resource in the world, yet it becomes the greatest separator between those who rise and those who remain stuck. Every person wakes up with the same 24 hours, the same blank canvas, the same chance to shape a day that moves them closer to the life they want. But the difference lies in how those hours are valued, protected, and directed. Some people drift through their days reacting to whatever appears in front of them, while others move with intention, clarity, and purpose. The truth is simple: time is not something to manage, time is something to honor. When you honor it, you begin to transform everything around you. When you waste it, you lose pieces of the future you could have built. Successful people understand this truth deeply. They don't see hours as blocks on a calendar. They see them as opportunities to build meaning, progress, and momentum. They don't wait for the perfect moment or the right day, because they know those things rarely come. Instead, they commit to showing up even when the day feels imperfect. They choose to do what matters before the world demands their attention. They recognize that clarity is the starting point of all time mastery, because without clarity everything feels urgent, everything feels important, and everything feels overwhelming. Time becomes powerful only when it is directed towards something that matters. Purpose is what gives every minute weight, direction, and value. Without purpose, time slips through your fingers quietly, almost invisibly, disguised as small distractions, meaningless tasks, and moments spent on things that never move your life forward. With purpose, even the smallest actions begin to feel significant. The first step toward managing time, the way successful people do, is understanding what you want your time to serve. Not what others expect, not what society pressures you into, but what you truly want to build, experience, and become. Successful people don't start their days by asking, "What do I have to do?" They start with a deeper question: what will make this day count? They understand that time is not measured by how much you do, but by how much meaning you put into what you choose to do. They focus on the few things that create the most impact. They protect their mornings from chaos because they know the first hours shape the direction of the day. They choose intention over impulse, strategy over reaction, and growth over distractions. You don't need more hours, you don't need more time, you need more intention behind the time you already have. When you shift your mindset from counting hours to making hours count, everything changes. You begin to feel more in control. You begin to feel more capable. You begin to feel more aligned with the life you want. Time reveals its power only to those who use it with purpose. The day you decide to take responsibility for your time is the day you take responsibility for your future. Successful people don't just fill their hours with activity, they fill them with what matters most. They have learned a powerful lesson that most never truly grasp. Not everything that demands your attention deserves it. Life is full of noise, distractions, and tasks that feel urgent but contribute little to your progress. The ability to separate what is truly important from what merely appears urgent is what allows extraordinary results to emerge. This is why mastering priorities, not simply hours, is the key to time mastery. It's not about working longer, it's about working smarter, focusing on what moves your life forward and letting go of what does not. When you understand the difference between urgent and important, you begin to see how much of life's chaos is self-imposed. Urgent tasks scream for attention, often distracting you from long-term goals. Important tasks, on the other hand, build your future quietly, steadily, and with lasting impact. Successful people learn to prioritize these important tasks even when the noise around them is deafening. They know that saying yes to everything means saying no to progress. Every distraction avoided, every irrelevant task declined, becomes an investment in the things that truly matter. This skill is not born overnight. It is cultivated through awareness, reflection, and disciplined choice. The power of focused attention cannot be overstated. Successful people carefully choose where to direct their energy, understanding that focus multiplies effectiveness. They do not allow themselves to be pulled in every direction. They create boundaries around their time and attention, carving space for the work that produces meaningful results. They are deliberate in their actions, knowing that the most powerful impact comes from concentrating on a few critical priorities rather than scattering effort across many small, inconsequential tasks. In this way, they achieve more in a few hours than most achieve in an entire day. Eliminating the unnecessary is just as important as focusing on the essential. Successful people ruthlessly remove distractions, habits, and commitments that do not serve their highest goals. This doesn't mean avoiding responsibility, it means learning to distinguish between what is truly valuable and what simply fills time. They understand that the easiest way to take control of time is to reclaim it from the things that steal it. Each no spoken to a distraction, each choice to focus on what matters, compounds into progress over time. Small decisions, repeated consistently, create a life shaped by intention rather than by accident. Productivity is not a measure of busyness, but of impact. Successful people do not chase the illusion of doing more, they chase results that matter. They organize their priorities, protect their time, and create space for the meaningful work that accelerates their growth. They know that by focusing on the few things that move the needle, they can achieve outcomes far beyond what mere effort alone could produce. And this approach is available to anyone willing to make the shift from reacting to what appears urgent to intentionally pursuing what is important. When you begin to prioritize like this, every day becomes a building block for a future that is no longer left to chance. Structure is not a restriction. It is the framework that allows freedom to flourish. Successful people understand that discipline is not a burden. It is the secret that turns ordinary days into extraordinary lives. They do not rely on bursts of inspiration or fleeting motivation because those are unreliable. Instead, they design their days with purpose, creating a rhythm that aligns their energy with their priorities. Every action, every hour, and every decision is shaped by systems that keep them moving forward, even when willpower wavers. By embracing a daily structure, they ensure that progress is inevitable, not accidental. The power of structure begins with small, deliberate choices. Mornings are sacred, not because they are magical, but because they set the tone for the entire day. Successful people use the first hours to focus on work that requires clarity, creativity, and high energy. They protect this time fiercely, knowing that interruptions early in the day can ripple through every subsequent hour. A structured morning routine is not about rigid schedules. It is about aligning actions with intention, creating momentum before the world demands attention. Once momentum is established, the rest of the day flows with purpose rather than chaos. Structure also involves intentional blocks of deep work. These are periods where distractions are minimized and focus is maximized. In these moments, meaningful progress is made and complex challenges are addressed with full attention. Successful people do not let their attention be pulled in every direction. They recognize that the ability to concentrate deeply is rare, and that this concentration creates results far beyond what scattered effort can achieve. The discipline to dedicate uninterrupted time to high-value tasks separates those who achieve their goals from those who remain trapped in busyness without accomplishment. Rest and recovery are integral parts of the daily structure, not optional extras. Successful people understand that their energy is finite and that sustainable performance requires balance. They do not glorify exhaustion or constant activity because they know it leads to mistakes, burnout, and wasted time. By intentionally scheduling rest, reflection, and rejuvenation, they maintain clarity and resilience. Structure without balance is tyranny. Structure with balance is power. Consistency is the multiplier of success. Small actions repeated daily compound into results that feel almost miraculous over time. Structure turns intention into habit, habit into momentum, and momentum into outcomes. It eliminates the need to rely on fleeting motivation because the framework itself carries the work forward. Each day becomes predictable in terms of effort, yet unpredictable in terms of the growth it produces. When a life is structured intentionally, even ordinary hours create extraordinary results. Designing your day is not about eliminating freedom, It is about creating a life where freedom is earned through discipline. Every choice to structure your time, protect your focus, and honor your energy adds up. The discipline of daily structure transforms chaos into clarity, effort into achievement, and potential into reality. By embracing this principle, you are no longer at the mercy of distractions, random circumstances, or fleeting moods. You become the architect of your day, the master of your hours, and the creator of a life that moves with momentum, purpose, and unstoppable energy. Distractions are the silent thieves of time, quietly stealing hours that could have been used to create, grow, and achieve. Successful people understand this better than anyone else. They recognize that attention is one of the most valuable resources in existence, more valuable than money, more valuable than influence, because without it, no plan, no idea, and no goal can move forward. Every day, countless distractions compete for attention. Notifications, interruptions, meetings that could have been emails, and endless streams of information. Most people allow themselves to be pulled in every direction, losing control of their time, their focus, and ultimately, their lives. Protecting attention is not optional. It is essential for achieving meaningful success. The first step in guarding time is learning to say no. Successful people are not people pleasers. They are guardians of their own priorities. Every yes given to something unimportant is a yes taken away from something that matters. Saying no is not about being unkind or rejecting opportunity. It is about recognizing that your energy and focus are finite and that your life's goals deserve protection. Boundaries around your time are not barriers. They are the scaffolding that allows you to build something extraordinary. By choosing carefully what to allow in, you give yourself the power to say yes to what truly matters. Distractions often come disguised as obligations, habits, or even pleasure. Social media, endless emails, casual interruptions, and trivial tasks can fill hours without creating any real progress. Successful people ruthlessly eliminate or minimize these intrusions. They create environments where focus is possible. They schedule periods of uninterrupted work, turn off notifications, and remove temptations that fragment their attention. Every step taken to protect focus multiplies the impact of the hours that remain. It is not about doing less, it is about doing more of what counts. Guarding your attention also requires awareness. Successful people know that their mind can wander, that habits of distraction are deeply ingrained, and that it is easy to slip back into old patterns. They cultivate mindfulness, self-discipline, and reflection. They regularly ask themselves, is this task moving me closer to my goals, or is it merely filling time? This habit of reflection allows them to course correct, to recognize when attention is being wasted, and to return to what is meaningful. Time and attention are intertwined, and mastery over one requires mastery over the other. The ultimate lesson is that your future is determined not by the time you have, but by what you allow to occupy it. Every distraction avoided, every boundary set, every choice to focus on the meaningful instead of the trivial shapes your life profoundly. Successful people understand that control over attention creates control over outcomes. The hours you protect, the tasks you prioritize, and the interruptions you refuse define the trajectory of your success. By guarding your attention as fiercely as you would guard a treasure, you transform time from something easily lost into something powerful, deliberate, and unstoppable. In the end, success is less about working harder and more about protecting the space where greatness can grow. Purpose is what transforms time from a simple measurement into a force that shapes your life. Successful people understand that without purpose, even the most meticulously planned day can feel empty. Time spent without direction is time lost, while time spent with a clear intention becomes a building block for something far greater than the moment itself. Living with purpose creates urgency, focus, and energy. It gives every decision weight, every action significance, and every hour meaning. Without it, the hours slip away unnoticed, like sand through fingers, leaving behind regret instead of progress. Successful people do not wait for motivation to appear. They create it by aligning their actions with a purpose that is deeply personal and meaningful. Purpose fuels action, and action creates momentum. When every task, every choice, and every moment is connected to a larger goal, even the most challenging work feels worthwhile. Procrastination loses its power because the stakes are no longer abstract. They are real, urgent, and tied to the life they are determined to create. By living with purpose, they turn every day into a mission and every challenge into an opportunity to advance toward their vision. Fear and hesitation are the greatest thieves of time. Waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect conditions is a trap that steals more dreams than failure ever could. Successful people act despite fear, understanding that the act of beginning is what creates clarity, learning, and progress. They embrace discomfort, risk, and uncertainty because they know that these are the spaces where growth happens. Every decision to move forward, no matter how small, compounds over time, creating momentum that carries them past doubt, delay, and distraction. Urgency does not mean rushing blindly. It means recognizing that time is precious and that action is the vehicle through which purpose is fulfilled. Living with purpose also means making intentional choices about how each hour is spent. Successful people do not allow their days to be dictated by circumstances or the demands of others. They shape their time around what truly matters, aligning their actions with values, goals, and long-term vision. They invest in work that produces lasting impact, relationships that matter, and experiences that enrich their life. This alignment turns ordinary actions into extraordinary results. The consistency of small, purposeful actions becomes the difference between a life of regret and a life of achievement. Ultimately, the lesson is simple but powerful. Stop counting hours and start making hours count. Time will pass regardless of how it is used, but those who live with purpose ensure that every moment contributes to the life they desire. Every choice to act with intention, every decision to focus on what matters, and every refusal to be distracted compounds into a future shaped by design rather than accident. Success is not granted to those who wait, but to those who use time with urgency, focus, and clarity. When purpose guides every hour, every day becomes meaningful, and every moment builds toward a life that is intentional, impactful, and unstoppable. The question is not whether you have enough time. The question is whether you are ready to make the time you have count.